So I am here tonight to be watching the Republican debate. Thanks for joining me. So I have these earpieces in my ear so I can listen to Fox News right now. They're talking about Biden or whatever. Steve Ducey's son is right there, Peter Ducey. But really, we're here to talk about the Republican. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to jump in the comments. But if you want to support the campaign, as you know, I am a candidate for president, and I am running against these Republicans. chaseoliver.com/donate, support the campaign. That's a great way to say that you're tired of both the Republicans and the Democrats there. But we also welcome comments, other things like that. Opinion on Perry Johnson. I actually got to say hello to him really quickly when we were in Iowa. Seemed like a nice enough guy. Unfortunately, he's not on the stage tonight. Am I playing the Republican primary? Yeah, I'm responding to it live. So if you are watching it on Fox News, right now you are seeing the stage in Milwaukee. Looks like we got some candidates. Let's talk about who's going to be on there. So, of course, Donald Trump not going to be there. No big surprise. He doesn't really have a record to run other than spending a lot of our money and trying to being kind of an authoritarian man. So I don't think he's going to be on the stage, but we do have Ron DeSantis, the governor, as well as, let's see. It says connection is unstable. Pause one moment. All right, maybe I'm coming in better now, hopefully. Let's see. How am I doing? Can folks see me? Am I breaking up? If I am, I might have to drop the YouTube stream. Hope I'm coming in well. Let's see if I'm coming well right now on Twitter. Well, can folks see me all right? I'm glitching, says Joe. Crap. Well, I don't want to be breaking up. You know what I'm going to do? Let's see. Should I just drop off of Twitter maybe? I think Twitter is probably the one that's glitching it out the most. Michael says, I can see and hear you fine. Okay, well, maybe the problem has fixed itself. It doesn't show an unstable connection anymore. So anyway, looks like Hannity is giving his debate. Hannity's giving his little debate monologue right now. I don't know what he's saying. Let's see. Let me turn it up a little bit. So you got DeSantis, you got Mike Pence, you got Chris Christie, you got Vivek Ramaswamy, you got Doug Burgum, who had like a broken leg this morning, so he'll be on crutches. Who else am I missing? If anybody has it in the comments, my brain's just trying to think about who else is going to be in this debate. They're all Republicans. They're all going to say pretty much the same thing. Let me see if I can. Let's take a shot every time you hear the word woke or Hunter Biden. Don't do that, actually. You will, he broke his leg this morning and he's showing up to debate tonight. He was apparently playing basketball with his campaign staff and he broke his leg. So note to self, if I ever get, once I'm the nominee, once I get into the debates, because, we're going to manifest what we're going to do as the candidate. I'm not going to be playing basketball the morning before my debate. Oh, did you see my dog right there? That's my dog, Delilah. She's an old dog. She's going to go probably lay down this couch right behind me. Come here, Delilah. But yeah, feel free to drop questions if you have any, about what's been going on. I just got back from Iowa. Got to have a great time speaking to folks in Iowa. Probably spoke directly to a few thousand voters. So if I sound a little hoarse, that's why. I also ate many fried foods. I got to speak on the political soapbox stage, so I broke the two-party ceiling there. Ooh. So they're about to have the national anthem singing because it's like a sports game. But here we go. So now we're in commercial time. So now that we got a little bit of time to hang out and talk without me having to hear Fox News in my ear, how are we all doing tonight? If you want to help the campaign, you want to help us fight the two-party system, if you want to help us grow as we go through this and move into convention season and help us get delegates so that we can win this nomination, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. We are growing and getting across states all over the country. We've been to 26 states so far. We have plenty more to hit. We're going to be doing a New England tour sometime in the fall, as well as starting to hit those conventions that are coming up. We look forward to being in a few of these presidential debates that have already been put forward by some state parties. So we're excited about that. Al Gore broke his leg playing basketball when he was VP, I believe. Well, let's not be like Al Gore, Joe. But, I think there's a very real possibility that what we're going to see on stage tonight is going to be kind of moot at the end, because I still very much feel like the Republican Party is all up in the Trump business. But we'll see. Maybe someone tonight can break free from Donald Trump, and then I can worry about debating somebody who isn't him. Because honestly, if it's Donald Trump and Joe Biden again, I think that's the golden opportunity for any third party, but particularly libertarians who are going to be poised to really be the benefactors of all that. 8 pepperoni and meatball sub, buffalo chicken stumble, and Jesus Christ. I'm trying not to eat that much. I already ate a ton of fried food in Iowa, so I'm right now trying to eat a little bit healthier to offset all the calories that I added when I was in the Hawkeye State up there. So trying to drink a little bit more water, even though I do have soda. You don't recommend it. Yeah, I don't recommend eating all that either. That just sounds like heartburn. But yeah, so one of the best things about being in Iowa is I got to be on a live radio show with somebody who was it's a Newsmax radio show, a guy named Simon Conway. And he, of course, tried to come out the libertarian positions on, in particular, immigration and ending the drug war. And, it was a good chance for me to demonstrate that when those push comes to shove, I'm not going to be shying away from the libertarian position. I'm actually going to lean into it and fight back. I think far too often we compromise our principles. And one of our principles is that people should be free to come here and work if they want to come here and work, man. Like, we shouldn't be stopping them and end the drug war. So legalize drugs so that we can combat addiction and not have a prison state. Speaking of that, while we're on commercial break here, a little bit of news out of Atlanta. We've collected over 100,000 signatures in the city of Atlanta to stop Cop City. And now the Democrats in the Atlanta city government are basically trying to use signature matching to toss out as many signatures as possible. Now, these are the same tactics that were decried by Warnock and Ossoff and Stacey Abrams when they ran for office. But it seems like these Democrats are silent all of a sudden when Democrats in the Atlanta city government are deciding to use it to try to throw away the will of the people who want to put Stop Cop City on the ballot. Now, we have so many signatures, it doesn't really matter. I think that we're going to win anyways, but it's just the shady kind of tactics of the Atlanta city government. We'll speak more about that in the coming days. Let's see. Oh, Kellyanne Conway, blast in the past. She's on Fox News right now. Wearing a lovely green dress. She seems nice. Let me just kind of listen to what she's saying. I honestly think the breakout tonight will, let's see if Vivek can break out. He's somebody that seems to be having a little bit of momentum. The Eminem singing in Iowa, I guess, got him a viral moment or something. I want to see how Mike Pence reacts, because a lot of this is going to be about Donald Trump, and he was his VP. So let's see how he distances himself from Donald Trump. Let's see what he does there. I'm looking forward to seeing... Chris Christie's basically determined that anytime he gets tonight, he's going to use to prosecute against Donald Trump. So he's going to try to, basically, everybody's going to try to run into be the not Donald Trump lane. And the debate is not being live streamed. It is on Fox News. So if you have Fox News, or if you have the Fox News app, I guess they probably have a streaming app of some kind. I don't have it. Hey, here's the thing. If you are, someone said we need to get more of these Trump folks to vote for you, Chase, or any Libertarian candidates. Hey, if they are broadly along the agreement that the government is too big, too large, too intrusive, and we need to reduce that in everyone's lives, we need to let everyone live in peace if they're not harming anybody. Broadly speaking, that's libertarianism. Welcome into the tent. We'll make you more libertarian the longer you're here, but we need people across the political spectrum to vote libertarian this next election, so that way we can win all across the country. We want to see local libertarians and libertarians running in local and statewide and federal offices, winning all over the country. We need people to be working for that, and certainly something I'm going to be doing as a presidential candidate is trying to help out there. Let's see. Vivek said he would end the NRC, which is about as reliable as when Obama said he would legalize marijuana. Yeah. Yep. That is probably true. You're going to probably hear a lot of BS. They're all coming out on stage. Everybody's doing the old walk out on stage and wave. I didn't have an audience when I debated Senator Warnock. I wish I had. I think it would have actually helped enhance the fact that I made him look like an idiot. That's probably why I was not allowed to the debate in Savannah that Herschel Walker was at when he waved his little fake police badge around. They don't like to have people on stage when there's libertarians, because you get that Ron Paul moment where he decries the war on terror in a Republican debate, and the crowd erupts into applause against Rudy Giuliani. Speaking of which, Rudy Giuliani indicted today. I don't know if anybody saw the mugshot. Should I go down to the Fulton County Courthouse tomorrow and talk to media as a presidential candidate while Trump's getting booked and everything? Should I do that? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. We definitely want to cut the regulation around getting nuclear plants online. Scientific Libertarian mentioned the Nuclear Regulatory Committee's job seems to be prevent nuclear power from ever being built. There's a lot of red tape that we need to get rid of so that nuclear power can come online and be really competitive in the free market of energy. Oh yeah, Asa Hutchinson, forgot about him. And Nikki Haley and Tim Scott. Those were the three I was forgetting about. Look forward to hearing from all of them and hearing the straight up duopoly BS they're all going to throw out our way. Which one's the biggest neocon? We'll figure that one out tonight. I believe you're referring to none of them, Joe. Who was the candidate who was governor that didn't lock down? That would be none of them. I believe the one you're thinking of is Kristi Noem of South Dakota. Burgum is of North Dakota. But all of those candidates locked down. DeSantis will talk about how he opened up quick, but a reminder, we opened up in Georgia before Florida. Not that we should have ever been locked down. So thank you. Yeah, I think that's the one you were thinking of. Trey Gowdy, man. He's got a crazy hairstyle all the time. I'll give it to him. He's very well coiffed. All right. Trying to move my I'm watching on my phone, you guys, so apologies if my face darts to the screen, because I will be watching on a phone that is, and make sure you guys, if you are watching, like this and share it, retweet it. Let your folks know on YouTube that you're watching. Feel free to comment here. Am I coming through loud and clear for everybody? Everybody's able to see me? you guys want to support a real campaign for president that is looking to challenge the two-party system, looking to end wars, return control of your medical decisions, your education decisions, really all of your life decisions back to you, away from the federal bureaucracy that exists in Washington, D.C., go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. We support your right to live as your authentic self in peace, so long as you're not harming anybody. That's what liberty is all about. And that's the message we're looking to put out in the 2024 election. So if you want to help us out, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. We're always looking to get those recurring donors. $5 a month, $10 a month, it all adds up. Help us out if you can. We'd love your support. All right, let's see what's going on. We're just minutes away from this, 5 minutes away or less from the first Republican primary debate. Let's see who I'm going to be running against when I'm the Libertarian nominee. Will it be any of these guys on stage, or will it be the guy that's getting booked in Fulton County Jail tomorrow? We shall see. Who do you think is going to win this debate? Throw that up in the comments. Who do you think is going to do well? Who do you think is going to have a breakout moment? Let me know. Let's try to be unbiased here. Let's just see, who do you think is going to be the best one on this stage tonight? Doesn't even have to be, I honestly think the two people that are going to be fighting the most is going to be a big fight between DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy. I think that's because DeSantis is on the downward slope and Vivek seems to be kind of taking that momentum a little bit. So we're going to see if Ron can correct. Natalie Grant singing the national anthem, Grammy nominee. Here we go. Ray says he thinks DeSantis will be the best. He's ready to attack. Scientific Libertarian says Andrew Yang thinks Vivek is going to win. Some people say Vivek is kind of like the Andrew Yang of the Republicans. He's a young entrepreneur kind of type guy. I can see why Andrew Yang finds him kind of like to be the one that he thinks will break out, because he's very much kind of, even the policy is very different. They seem to be kind of similarly from the same ascendancy there. All right. It's national anthem. Beautiful rendition of the national anthem, I gotta say. DeSantis looks like very nervous. He looks the most nervous when they went to Asa. Asa looks actually very calm. I don't know. I think maybe Asa Hutchinson might be surprising. Who knows, you guys? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I really don't know who's going to break out in this. I think DeSantis has the most to lose. Really, some of the guys on the outer edge of the podium have the most to gain. We'll see how they go. I feel like governors typically do well in these things because they have executive experience. And that's what we have a stage full of, except for, let's see, Tim Scott's a senator. Vivek is an entrepreneur. And I think everybody else there on stage pretty much is a governor, right? So we'll see how it goes. DeSantis does look shook. He looked nervous. He looked like he is sweating already, and it is not even 1 minute into this debate. So we'll see how it goes. I think, I think he's nervous. We'll see how it goes. There's 4,000 people in the audience, by the way. So this is not just like a small debate audience. Say hello to Delilah behind me, you guys. That's my dog, Delilah. She's 12 and she's still a baby. She's the love of my life. All right, Milwaukee. I have been to Milwaukee. It's a lovely city. Nice stuff. I ate some cheese curds out when I was in Wisconsin. Call it the cream city out there. And that is not because of all the dairy. That's because their buildings are cream colored. It was the hottest week in Milwaukee in April ever when I was there. It was 82 degrees, which that far north in April is crazy. So they're airing the George Floyd and other footage. So we're going to be talking about abortion. Crowd goes wild when they hear about Roe v. Wade getting struck down. Actually hear the audience cheering for that. It's I'm watching on Fox News, Carol. So you have to have Fox News wherever you're on. I think Fox News also might be on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, they might have a live feed. Not the first debate. We've been in the first debate, Libertarians. I've been in a few debates already. So that's just hyperbole. That's two-party hyperbole right there. Oh yeah, DeSantis looks like very, very nervous. Vivek's smiling broadly. He looks very happy to be there. Gotta say, Bret Baier always looks sharp in a suit. I'll be honest. They're all dressed identically, it looks like. He looks nervous. Oh, Doug Burton got a nice little applause there. I gotta say, there's definitely a lot of DeSantis love in the room right now, it looks like. Oh, we're gonna be hearing that bill a lot tonight, you guys. I predict everyone's gonna be going overtime tonight because that's what they do. We all know Bidenomics is BS, but so is any other nomics that's going to be coming out of the Republican Party. They're all going to spend money, you guys. We got to stop printing money out of thin air. That's how we get our economy back into the road to prosperity. So if we are not ending the Fed and we are not stopping printing money out of thin air and balancing our budget, we're screwed. It doesn't matter who the president is. So let's see what they have to say. Cost of food is one of the biggest things I heard about when I was in Iowa, you guys, from people, is that the cost of food is getting extremely expensive. All right, here we go. We're talking about Richmond, north of Richmond. Let's see what he says. We get it. Yes. The Richmond, north of Richmond is DC. We know that. That's what he's talking about. Truth is both parties want to have total control. It just depends on what part of your life they want to control. Republicans want to control your bodily autonomy with regards to healthcare decisions. So do Democrats. Just matters what area. Never forget that it was a Republican president who locked down this country first. See if DeSantis can sound normal talking about a song here. Let's see. Rehearsed line. It's totally just rehearsed line. Okay. Hunter Biden doesn't matter. How are you going to reduce inflation? That's a distraction, Ron. I'm going to disqualify you for that one. Correct. You were a member of Congress who did that too, though. Pivoting to energy. Okay. Awkward smile, awkward smile. He seems like just like a lizard in a human suit sometimes. That was so rehearsed. Chris Christie's going to try to come out as the policy wonk here. Ooh, he paused for applause and he didn't do it. Oh, yes, because New Jersey is known for being such a low tax state. Can't even pump your own gas in New Jersey. I just don't trust it. Ray says Christie seems like a Fox commentator compared to presidential. Yeah, he does. Here's where they all promise to cut spending, but they're not actually going to cut spending because Republicans have never really truly cut spending in my entire adult life. So this is just the BS that you're going to get from Republicans. They'll talk about how we need to cut spending, but they'll never actually tell you what they're going to cut. All right, so he's touting reducing debt in New Jersey. All right, Tim Scott's being asked about welfare programs. What have you done to rein in welfare spending? Let's see what he actually has to say. Okay, but what are you going to do to cut it? What are you going to do to cut the spending? How are you going to attack entitlements, Tim? That was what the question was about. Everybody's pivoting to Biden. See, people need to actually answer questions. This is what bugs me when you watch these. Yes, but see, here's the thing. If you offer tax cuts, but you don't actually cut the spending to balance the budget, we're still printing dollars out of thin air, and that just devalues our currency and adds to the inflation. So even if you cut taxes, which I want to cut taxes, but you have to cut the spending too, because otherwise the Treasury, the Fed just creates money out of thin air and it just devalues our dollar. So like it's just like shuffling the debt around. Okay, he mentioned the Federal Reserve, first one to do it. I'll give Tim Scott credit for that. Mention the Federal Reserve. Pence is like, anytime you mention the Trump administration, you must pick on me because I was the VP. Here goes the first question for Vivek. I'm 38 years old. Hey, it's not hate against 38-year-olds running for president, folks. Okay, that is an Obama line. I respect the immigrant story. For a fact, the sons of immigrants create more jobs and create more businesses than on average on native born folks. So it's another reason to support immigrants coming to this country, because they actually help create broad prosperity across the country. So let's see. I agree with him that we need a new generation. I just don't want it to be a new generation of Republicans or Democrats, because they'll do the exact same thing as the old generation. If you really want a new generation of leadership, you got to look outside of the two-party system, because otherwise you're in that broken system, and there's the problem there. Oh, Nikki's going after the Republicans. I mean, broadly speaking, I would say, yeah, we do need to cut spending and get rid of earmarks. I agree with that. I just don't think Republicans are going to do it. But I think she's being feisty. Nikki Haley's coming out fighting. She's going after Republicans. I got to respect her for that, going after her own party. Don't think it's going to help her. But yeah, so far, Vivek seems to have the best stage presence, I think. I actually agree with her. She's going after her own party and she's calling them out for their own spending. So you got to respect her for that. I don't think she's going to go very far in her primary that way, but you got to say, good on her. This is, again, why it's hard to become a critic within your own party system, because when you do that, you kneecap yourself. Oh, absolutely. She's a total warmonger. Yeah. Let's just wait till they start talking about foreign policy. Pence just seems so not even there. He's going to drop out before Iowa. By the way, he got booed a lot in Iowa. He had a large crowd of people there to boo him. Scientific Libertarian says Eminem looks awful. Oh my God. Now I'll never not look at that the same way. Thank you for that. He does look like Eminem aged. He's hitting his standard stump speech here. We still haven't even heard from Asa or Doug Burgum. We're almost 20 minutes into this. Oh, here comes the first attack. Oh, Mike Pence goes after Vivek. Mike Pence just seems like a Republican that was frozen in time 15 years ago. He's like the standard, just fiscal conservative Republican who just and see. I mean, I'll support a lot. Vivek seems to be coming out fighting. Well, that's just not true, Vivek, because you said you were going to go to war south of Mexico and you were going to take the war to the cartels. So I think that's BS. He's saying he's going to not start any wars, but he's already said he's going to. So he's walking back his own record there. And someone's going to call him on it, I hope. Oh, snap. Mike Pence going for the old, back in my day. I mean, back when you did that, Vivek was in high school, dude. Like, what have you done for me lately? Oh, he just called him a rookie, and now he's fighting. Vivek's laughing at him, though. And they're fighting. Here we go. Okay. DeSantis comes out hard against COVID because he's trying to fight the Trump administration. You did not keep your state free and open, sir. You had your state closed longer than Georgia. So I actually lived in a state that opened up before Florida. And I'm not that Kemp's that great of a governor either, but I'm gonna fire you, Anthony Fauci. He's already retired, y'all. Just for a fact, just letting you know, the dude's like retired. So that's a can't fire a guy who's already left the job. Not that no love for Fauci, anyways. But Vivek calls them all super PAC puppets. Yeah, DeSantis seems to just be putting out memorized lines. Vivek sounds like a really good salesman. The moderators, of course, as per usual, cannot control the debate. Let's see, Governor Burgum. Cheers for being from a town of 300 people. Okay. Oh, there's a break a leg joke. We knew that was coming. Doug Burgum broke his leg this morning. So there's a rehearsal line. I do. I like that. He calls it the Inflation Creation Act. That's clever. And you know, one great way to improve energy production in the United States and the Jones Act so that we can sell natural gas from one port to the other in this country. That would be a great way to actually help energy in this country. Because right now we are exporting our natural gas, and then we have people in America who are buying natural gas from overseas when we could just be moving natural gas from one area of the United States to the other. But the Jones Act prevents that. So, yeah, that's one thing that we could do to help energy production in this country and lower the cost of energy for everybody. Ace is trying to come off as the good old boy and is a classic conservative. Up, froze there. My stream just froze. Of course, right when Ace is talking. Never mind. There he's back. Seems like Ramaswamy has already like taken the crowd. I gotta say, yeah, this particular crowd, he's doing the best just because he comes off as like not boring. Uh, to be honest, North Dakota only has 300 people. That's correct. Let's see. Why do you only cut the non-defensive workforce? We need to cut some of the giant Pentagon bloat too. There's a lot of Defense Department spending and Defense Department employees we could do without. Read my mind, Chase. I don't know. This is a boring debate because Republicans are just spouting the same stuff they always do. This guy looks like Bob Dole and George Bush had a baby. He does. He looks like just your standard Southern Republican governor. Nothing super special about him. Like I don't think there's anything really that. It's not like Arkansas is the best, best economically. I mean, he said he created jobs. So remember, government doesn't create jobs, you guys. Businesses do. The best government can do is get out of the way. All right. We're talking about heat waves. All right, let's see their answers on climate change. Do you believe human behavior? Oh, DeSantis is being feisty. Raise your hand, dude, or don't raise your hand. DeSantis not answering the question at all. He is like, let's talk about it. And then he's not talking about it. Okay, that's about climate change, dude. Like, what are you doing? That is a totally memorized line. And that's all DeSantis has in this issue. Watch as he cannot answer anything else about it. All right, Vivek says climate change is a hoax. So Vivek is screwing himself over with younger voters. Like this is the number one issue for young voters, and he's the young guy in the race, but like he's just completely being like, yeah, it's not even real. The truth is the best way to deal with climate change is not government. It's to unleash the innovation in the market. Ooh, Chris Christie coming at him. Calling him Chat GPT. Ooh, he just called him an amateur like Barack Obama. Chris Christie's coming out pissed. He's got, I'm pretty sure that was prepared too. And Nikki Haley reminds people that she's the only lady on stage. The guys are fighting, and she's trying to be the mom on stage. She is like stupid kids. I respect her for being like, shut. Let's see. Okay, so Nikki Haley is saying we got to tell other countries what to do. That's the solution to climate change. That's a little haphazard answer on that, but so how are you going to do that though? How are you going to make India and China not pollute? You're going to put tariffs on them? You're going to do protectionism? Yeah, everyone's going to go after Vivek now. Tim Scott's doing the political inspiring line. Okay, how does that? Okay, it's a very disjointed answer on the environment. Bring jobs back from China. Okay, but you've already gone over time, dude. You've been dinged twice, dude. Sorry. Here's the truth: get the government out of the energy production and let people choose their own type of energy. Free up, end all energy subsidies, and let the marketplace do it. Please mention that the Republican National Committee unfairly blocked Perry Johnson, Larry Elder, and Will Hurd, like it excludes libertarians and presidential debates. Well, I'm sure they had some thresholds that they probably met, right? That's what Perry Johnson said he met them. So did Larry Elder. It seems that it was the debates, the polls they had picked that excluded them. So, uh, no, what they haven't mentioned yet is Trump, for the most part. I mean, Pence mentioned him just a little bit. We're in commercials now. What are we thinking of the debate so far? I'm thinking they sound a lot of like the same old Republican politicians that we hear from all the time. They're very long on rhetoric, short on any kind of specifics. They say, "Oh, we need to cut government, we need to cut taxes, we need to cut this," but they never tell you how they're going to do it. And to me, that's just political fluff. The most rehearsed seems DeSantis. He seems the least natural and the most rehearsed. Vivek seems like the most off the cuff, but also it's getting him into trouble because he's getting feisty. I gotta say, the person who I think so far has come out fighting the most, obviously, is Chris Christie. He's wanted to come after everybody. Pence is just seeming like Mike Pence, which is boring. Didn't really get enough of Doug Burgum or Asia Hutchinson to really have anything stick. And it seems like Nikki Haley, she's trying to be the most moderate Republican in the room. She's trying to play the centrist kind of Republican-ish. I don't know if that's going to play well in today's Republican Party. They seem to be really Trumpy these days, and I just don't see like that moderate kind of lane opening up, just to be perfectly honest. But I'm wondering if any of these people who's going to be the Republican nominee, because it's probably still going to be Donald Trump. This is like kind of an exercise in futility, so long as Donald Trump's like 45 points ahead or whatever. So we'll see if any of these people can break through and become the not Trump that will inevitably be the other candidate as this goes through. I don't know which one of these it is yet. Who do you think, if you're watching right now, throw in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, or let me pull up Twitter here and see if we can get Let's see if we can see if anybody's saying anything, because I don't know if Twitter pops up here on. Let's see. Let's check out twitter.com. This is it's been a fun debate so far. Not really. It's not. It's been it's like the usual, the same old crap. Let's see. Oh no, I don't want to. Somebody said I should be watching the Trump interview. No, I'm good. I don't need to be watching the Trump interview with Tucker Carlson. I'd rather watch a debate. I'll end up watching the Trump thing at some point. But Vivek is hoping to replace Trump. You said Vivek, in my opinion. Yep. Apparently Vivek chose the form of his destroyer, and it was still the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That is hilarious. Funny indeed. Vivek will be his only actual competition, says Mhauda. Possibly. He seems to be very feisty. I think Trump is waiting for the herd to thin and decide who can win and pardon him. I don't think Glenn Youngkin's going to jump in. He's doing his thing already. I don't think he wants to run for president. I don't think Brian Kemp's going to jump in. People keep saying Brian Kemp's going to jump in. I think he's just happy being the governor of Georgia. Yeah, I really think so far it has really just been DeSantis coming off flat, just not really being super impressive, and Vivek doing his best to come out fighting, and Chris Christie coming out fighting. So like that, those are the only three that I really think are giving me any kind of impression at this point. You may have to find a way to vote for me twice because I pronounced your name correctly. Hey, well, in that case, just tell your friend to vote for me, right? That's how you get a second vote right there. Just convince a friend. If you guys want to support the campaign, you can go right there, votechaseoliver.com/donate. If you want to help a campaign that's not going to be as boring as these Republicans right here. All right, Haley's getting talked about abortion. Here's what she has to say about abortion. All right, Nikki Haley says she's pro-life. Again, she's claiming she's pro-life, but she's trying to come off as the most moderately pro-life, which is, my position is clear. I support your right to choose. I'm pro-choice, but I also support the Hyde Amendment. Federal government money shouldn't be going to fund abortion. So I think that's where most of the country is wanting, and there's ways to make abortion like less, have lower instances. She did surprise me. I knew she was going to come out on that. And DeSantis says, I'm going to come out hardcore for abortion, or against it, rather. All right, so DeSantis is coming out hard against abortion, as hard as you can, saying the heartbeat bill. Let's see if anybody goes even harder and says a ban even up to 6 weeks. Like, let's see if anybody gets harder on it than DeSantis. That is a weird story, this story about this girl, Penny. I want to know more. I want to learn more about that. I imagine the news is going to let us know a little bit more about what he's talking about. Would you sign a 6-week federal ban? He's not saying yes or no. He's not saying yes or no. Mike Pence is going to come out and say he's going to sign it. He's quoting the Bible and throwing that out and being very, very hardcore anti abortion. This is not to be unexpected from Mike Pence. I would say that he's probably going to be the hardest anti abortion voice up there. So he's a 15-week ban. So Mike Pence is coming out for a 15-week ban on abortion nationally. So it seems like there's some step back from the party from the 6-week ban, even from Mike Pence, which is a little weird. I would have expected him. Okay, Haley's coming out and basically saying, yeah, we're not going to get a federal ban because we don't have the power in the Senate to do it. And she's being honest about putting it back to the states. She's actually kind of schooling Mike Pence a little bit on this issue. I got to say, from a legislative point of view, the majority of the Americans are actually at the viability of Casey and Roe. If you want to look at polling, Mike Pence, he's a little wrong on the issue there. But it seems like the 15-week ban is where Mike Pence is at. That's a misnomer. But yes, let's see. And Pence shows he doesn't get what happens. He doesn't see what happens when it goes to the states. It says Ray. Oop. First guy pulls out the Constitution is Governor Burgum talking about the 10th Amendment. Got to respect that. It is a power left to the states, according to him. At least he's calling out the Constitution. That's the first time somebody's mentioned the Constitution in this debate. Okay, so federally decriminalize marijuana then and let the states decide. Is anybody going to let them do that? There's the question right there. All these people are talking about let's leave this to the states. Why don't they do that with cannabis? All these people want to go to war with the cartels like Vivek. Why don't they just leave cannabis to the states? It's because they know that even in Mississippi, medical marijuana passed with over 75% of the vote, and they know that there's no way to stop it. So they have to keep up their prohibitionist policies. Seems what it looks like to me. All right, so Asa Hutchinson is going to call for a federal ban. Hmm. See, I see this as them running away because here's the truth. The Republican Party for the last 30 years has been running on overturn Roe v. Wade and get rid of abortion all over the country. And now that they've overturned Roe v. Wade and they've seen what happened in a state like Kansas, a red state, when they tried to put abortion bans on the ballot and it was soundly defeated and abortion rights were defended, Republicans are actually seeing that they're losing at the ballot on this issue. And so they're trying to go to the states' right argument because they know there's no way they'll get a federal abortion ban through the Congress. And so they're trying to soften their image on this issue when in reality, they had been running on banning abortion federally for the last 30 years. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen from Republicans because normally you would see them just be like, we need to ban abortion nationwide. But see, now that Roe v. Wade is overturned, they have to change the way they talk about this topic because they know that the political winds have shifted on the topic and they're actually losing on it. So weird. Tim Scott does this a lot. He does this. He's very talks with the hands a lot. So Tim Scott calls for a 15-week ban nationally. All right. All right. Nikki Haley says, turn it back on Biden. Murder's actually down in Atlanta from last year, down 25% from last year. Just a fact here in Atlanta where I live. All right, let's see what Pence says about lockdowns. So he's going to not even talk about lockdowns and just talk about defunding the police. Basically, Vice President Pence, is homelessness your fault? So we need a police state as Mike Pence's solution to poverty. That sounds like a standard Republican talking point. The way to take care of poor people is more police to crack down on them and beat them up. Screw that. Like that's not a real solution to poverty. That is Republican hogwash that they throw out all the time. The way to deal with poverty is you have to create avenues for people to have prosperity. You have to make it easier for people to start a small business. You have to make it easier to build property that people can have in zoning requirements for things like single-use homes, single-family homes, rather. Get rid of the NIMBYs in cities all across America so you can actually build affordable housing for people to transition into. You have to get rid of the drug wars so that people aren't being thrown into the prison industrial cycle. They're able to actually get off of addiction because a lot of people who are on the streets with homelessness are suffering from addiction. We have to fix that process too. Yeah, there's a lot of these. Talking about guns. So Chris Christie is attacking prosecutors. So top-down governance. So we would just federalize the courts as opposed to states' rights and state courts and locally elected prosecutors is what Chris Christie is saying. He wants big government top-down governance, and yikes, that's terrible. That's putting unelected U.S. attorneys over elected DAs and cities all over the country. That's kind of BS. So Vivek comes out hard for qualified immunity. He loves it, apparently. Reinstitutionalize people. Okay. Family, faith, and patriotism have not disappeared. There are still families. There are still plenty of people of faith, and there is still plenty of patriotism in this country. That is just hogwash, man. That is just rhetorical stuff. You know, uh, yeah. The truth is that a lot of what we're seeing with violence in this country is actually dehumanization. Much of it is done because we are disconnected from one another. When it's easy to sit behind a faceless avatar and just insult people and dehumanize them, that's what leads to this breakdown of empathy with one another. Vivek is saying we live in a dark moment and he's trying to play this fear card. I just don't believe in the fear card. I just believe there's absolutely the potential for great aspirational good things in this country if we harness the potential of people. But it's not the solution that Mike Pence is talking about here either. Mike Pence is a retired Reagan clone. It is just the same old talking points. Hollowed out cities. They're the biggest. They're the biggest tax base for your states, Governor. Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville. They're not hollowed out. Let's talk about his career as an attorney. Ron DeSantis actually worked at Gitmo, right? Like he was the guy helping to sign off on enhanced interrogation techniques. If you believe in the rule of law and you believe in human rights, you should not be supporting Ron DeSantis. Just saying that. Yeah, the way we actually address violent crime is to stop the overcriminalization of our society. Like right now, we have way too many things that are illegal that have no victim, and we're putting the law enforcement eyeballs on that. And if we ended the overcriminalization of society, we could focus on actual violent crime. Doug Burgum saying, try that in a small town. By the way, there is violent crimes in rural and suburban communities too. It's not only in cities. Just putting that out there. Boo! Oh man, former head of the DEA, Asa Hutchinson. Boo! Get rid of the DEA and the DEA. Oh my goodness! If there's a department I can't wait to shut down, it is the DEA. Oh, didn't know that about you, Asa. That just makes me hate you more, man. Jeez, you're terrible. Okay, here's one question. How is the president of the United States going to stop localized crime? That seems to be a question for a mayor's race or maybe a county commission or a governor's race. This isn't really a national issue that you can worry about. If you want to start with the rule of law, then let's start acting within the bounds of the Constitution. The federal government doesn't have the right to do a lot of this stuff that you're talking about. Hey, Fulton County Jail. That's my home city. What's up? I'm going to be there tomorrow, probably. Oh, great. So we're going to talk about Donald Trump when we come back. Hey, guys, I'm going to take a quick break away from this camera. I'll be back in just a moment to talk more about this debate. Feel free to put any questions or comments into the chat there. Feel free to go to votechaseoliver.com/donate if you want to support this campaign for the presidency to fight back against the two-party BS that we've been seeing in this debate and that we'll likely see from Biden throughout this campaign, as well as whoever ends up being the Republican nominee, whether it's Trump or one of these guys. Go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, you guys. Nature had to call eventually. So yeah, votechaseoliver.com/donate is where you're going to want to go to support this campaign. We broke the two-party glass ceiling in Iowa last weekend at the Iowa State Fair. We were the first presidential campaign who's not a Republican or a Democrat to be able to speak at the Iowa State Fair. We also put libertarian literature and spoke the libertarian message to thousands upon thousands of Iowa voters. Made sure to promote the Libertarian Party of Iowa as well in their fight against eminent domain. Right now, they have the government stealing farmers' lands to put gas pipelines through. And honestly, as libertarians, we oppose eminent domain. Vivek. There we go. Sorry, Vivek. That rhymes with cake. Thank you. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. Vivek. Okay, rhymes with cake. Got it. But yeah, so the truth is like, we want to be putting out a message that is positive, aspirational, and that speaks to the fact that right now, both Republicans and Democrats are just really keen to spend your money to create inflation by printing dollars out of thin air. None of them are really talking about removing our military footprint from every continent around the world outside of North America. None of them are really talking about a free and open solution to immigration that allows people who want to come here to work and support free market principles like ending protectionist trade policies, like tariffs, and ending things that inhibit prosperity and growth around the country, things like the Jones Act. More expensive for folks out in Hawaii. By the way, prayers are with folks who are living in Maui dealing with the Lahaina fires. There's a lot of areas where we as libertarians are going to be head and shoulders above what the two-party system brings you. This is no different. What you're hearing right now from these Republicans is the same old talking point garbage that you're going to hear from them. None of them really have anything that they're going to. They all say the same thing. Oh, we need to cut entitlements. We need to cut spending. None of them have any real plan to do that. What they want to do is they want to cut spending from 5% growth to 2% growth. That's not a real cut. That is just cutting the rate of growth a little bit. But that doesn't really cut the size, scope, impact of government in our lives. It does not reduce the inflation that we're all feeling, and it does not reduce the debt or the deficits that we are continuing to rake up every single year. So if we're going to get rid of the $32 trillion debt that we have right now, we're going to start paying it down, start having a balanced budget, really start looking for prosperity, not just in the next quarter, but the next quarter century, we need to be supporting libertarian vision, libertarian candidates, and a libertarian candidate for president. I'm running for that position because I know that I can be out there and be a much better messenger for liberty than, say, Joe Biden's going to be for the Democrats because he can barely string a sentence together. Trump might actually be serving a literal prison sentence by the time he gets there. And so, we want to make sure that we are putting a message of liberty out there and giving people an option to vote for, not just voting against people. That is making them feel good. That's speaking to the next generation of liberty. We want to invest in the Gen Z libertarians out there who are going to be voting for the first time ever. We want to make sure we're reaching them and having a difference. And I suppose this is the part of the debate where they're just going to debate about Trump. Do I think a chunk of climate change is man-made? Yes, I absolutely think that increased carbon in the air does create the greenhouse effect. We're part of doing that. I think there's ways for us to fight it. Scientific Libertarian 2.0. Thanks for the question. The elephant not in the room, Donald Trump. I mean, all right, here we go. Here's an interesting question. If he's convicted, would you still support him? Let's see if they raise their hand. Oh, look at how they all like shyly raise their hand. All right, Christie's coming out hard against him. All right, Christie's coming out hard against Trump. He's saying he doesn't have conduct fit to be president. Booing is allowed, but it doesn't change the truth, says Chris Christie. He's getting murdered in the room right now. Vivek is kissing Trump's ass. Let's be real. Vivek is running to be Donald Trump's vice president at this point, based on this answer right now. Because you're running against him for the nomination, and you're just loving on him. I do find irony in a Republican debate that they are saying it's wrong to lock up political opponents when in 2016 they were all chanting "lock her up." Oh, just Christie's getting booed mercilessly by the pro-Trump crowd. He's going to chew up the time. Christie's letting him do it. And of course, Republicans are just. Oh, here we go. Vivek's fighting a bunch. Hold on. This is interesting. I'm watching these two be petty as hell to each other. Yeah, Chris Christie's done. Chris Christie's done. Ooh, Vivek calls him an MSNBC contributor. Yeah, I mean, Vivek is very much. All right, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Let's talk about Mike Pence on January 6th. Here we go. Okay, of course you're going to fire Merrick Garland. He's a Democratic AG. Like, that's not. When I'm elected president, I'm going to have a different cabinet than the current cabinet. It's not very. Yeah. David Thomas says Vivek just disqualified himself. You can't support Trump and still be an ethical person. I'll leave that for. I'll let that hang there. Just, yeah. These are a lot of rehearsed lines. Vivek is the only one who. I mean, they're all rehearsed, but he's the only one who seems like. No, that's oh my god. He was asked a direct question. He just said he just copied the last answer. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He was assigned with. Hold on. What DeSantis was assigned with U.S. Navy SEALs in Iraq? I thought he was a JAG officer. Okay, I want to know more about that. I'm sure the news is gonna ask him about that. Mike did his duty. I got no beef with him. DeSantis is basically by saying we need to move past January 6th is trying to move past uh, trying to move past Trump. He's basically saying don't talk about Trump. Oh shoot! Hold on, my stream just got interrupted, guys. Give me 1 second. Hmm. Let's see. Sorry, give me 1 second, you guys. Be right back. Getting a text from a family member. Hold on one. All right, so Chris Christie is coming in hard for Mike Pence. Asa is cooked. Yeah, it seems like that too. If we had a Ron Paul type that could expose DeSantis' Gitmo history. Let me just tell you right now, if I'm on the debate stage with Ron DeSantis, I'll expose his Gitmo history. We'll talk all about it. Everybody's loving on Mike Pence. So far, the only person who think Mike Pence didn't do the right thing is Donald Trump. That's the only one. Nikki Haley is saying move past Donald Trump. Yep. She's being serious that it's actually better for the party not to have Trump. I mean, statistically speaking, she's right. Trump versus Biden 2.0 is the least desired matchup. She's not lying there. I'm not voting for any of these guys. Good. I'm not voting for any of them either, David Thomas Moscrip. I'm not voting for any of them either. I'm not a Republican either. I'm a Libertarian. I'm actually running against them. And we're done with Trump. Ramaswamy is promising to pardon Donald Trump. Pence does not want to pardon Trump. That's what we just learned right there. And I don't blame him. Mike Pence is giving the same speech he's always given. This is some fluff around January 6th. This is just Mike Pence getting his time to chew on the subject because he was vice president that day. Everybody running over time. That bell does not stop anybody from talking. They just keep talking right over the bell. Scientific Libertarian says Pence is the stalest cracker in the box. He kind of is. He is just. Talking about Ukraine. We should remove our military footprint out of it and allow humanitarian aid to come and by way of allowing anybody who's in the war zone right now to become a refugee. We want to make sure. Let's see. Vivek's just holding his hand up. Ramaswamy is basically saying that he's being a weather vane. Militarize our border, says Ramaswamy. That's stupid. I can appreciate not wanting to put boots on the ground or money into Ukraine, as he is saying, in terms of military, but like this, oh, well, let's just militarize our border and attack the border. This is ridiculous. Do I think any of these candidates have a chance to beat Trump besides DeSantis? Not really. I think Vivek is running to be his vice president. Hmm. Okay, this does not. Christy, I hear what you're saying, but none of it is why we should be sending weapons there. So, Chris Christie calling to be the world's policeman. Here comes neocon Mike Pence. There comes the standard neocon talking points from the Republican Party. It has been the same since Iraq, Afghanistan, and all through it. I got to respect Ramaswamy for being able to stand up against the standard Republican talking points here. So let's create saber rattling for China. This is the thing. They talk about, oh, we don't need to fight in Ukraine, but let's rattle the saber at China. Like, this is what they do. They have to create an enemy, and to push military industrial complex spending. That's the truth. Ooh, peace through strength. That is such a Bush talking point from the early 2000s. The shiver just went up my anti-war spine, you guys. Just, ugh, Mike Pence. Mike Pence is losing this one for me right now. I was going to say. Yeah, Trump and Tucker neoconservatism is basically let's fight China instead. I agree. That is the same. Carol Moore says, should we fight 5 million Russia or 20 million Chinese or neither? Neither. We should be trading with people. We should be removing military footprints and creating market relationships through the free market. Because when we're trading with people, we become economically dependent. Any war with China is saber rattling. China is so economically dependent on us and vice versa that we're not going to go to war with each other. That's just the truth. And it's actually a good thing that we don't go to war with people we trade with. Here's the wrong thing: to send troops or money or war around the world when we're not directly threatened. That just means we need to cut the defense budget. That just means our defense budget's too large. See, they just want to go to war with China so bad in the Republican Party, man. Like, this is ridiculous. They are like, let's forget war in Ukraine and go to war with China, another nuclear armed nation. Like, that's just. Well, you see, here's the thing, Daniel. He can say he wants to remove, war from Ukraine, but if he's talking about going to war with China, like, that's not any better. Like, that's still going to war around the world. Like, I mean, I don't get disagree with it. Putin is an authoritarian murderer. He did shoot that guy right out of the sky, and that's what happens, in an authoritarian despotism, right? That's what happens. And yeah, Putin's not a good guy. I don't think anybody over there should be arguing that. And they all want to go to war with Mexico too. Yeah, they all want to go to war on the southern border. Like, they want to bring war to North America. They want to go to war with the cartels. Vivek is, I mean, Ramaswamy, man, he is getting hit from all sides. And I think he's actually taking heat. Like, I don't think he's. Jeez, oh my God, you love the border policies of Israel with their. Oh, geez, that's not the best border policy, dude. Like, that shouldn't be what we want in this country. Yeah, these are very long 30-second answers, Ray. I agree with you. These are. Why is it that they always transition away from supporting Ukraine to we have to attack the border and we have to. Ugh. Here's the thing about sending troops or more border patrol. Here's what they say. Oh, we just need more border patrol. We need more troops at the border. Here's the thing, dude. We have increased border patrol year over year over year over year over year for the last 30 years. And you know what it's done? Hasn't stopped immigration because people will still find ways to come here and seek prosperity. It's just ludicrous to think that that is going to be a policy that works. Oh my God. It is so dumb. It is so dumb. Not to mention the eminent domain you would have to do to build a wall on the southern border. You would have to steal so many people's land. You'd have to take it. You'd have to use the power of government to steal people's land to build that wall. It's just dumb. Ooh, let's militarize Taiwan even more. See, this is a warfare state, man. This is the two-party system at work, dude. They are a warfare state. They have no answer to the way of international relations outside of more war and more weapons around the world. This is so ridiculous. The Republican Party is a shame for this. This is just so bad. As someone someone who lives in a border state, I'd say that the Border Patrol is more scared than your average border crosser. Yeah, exactly. What is going on here? Like this is just, I mean, this is your standard Republican neocon. Hey, the only answer to anything is to blow it up around the world kind of solution. How about no 87,000 IRS agents or 87,000 more Border Patrol agents? How about we fire some of the bureaucracy that exists around the federal government because it's too big and too expensive and we don't need all of it? Oh, and there we go. Tim Scott, let's fire the IRS agents and hire double the Border Patrol agents. Fire them both. We don't need more IRS agents. We don't need more Border Patrol. We don't need more government. We need less government. That just tells me if there's 2 million people on a watch list, that watch list is too damn huge. I'm just going to be real with you. 2 million people that we're trying to keep an eye on. Something tells me that watch list is quite broad. Just saying. Hey, if you want to stop fentanyl, here's what you do. You end the war on drugs and you allow people to be treated for addiction as opposed to being scared to go to prison if they admit they're an addict. You allow them to go to a pharmacist so they can test their product to make sure it's not laced with fentanyl. You allow for the for the distribution over the counter of fentanyl testing strips. You allow for more Narcan to prevent addiction deaths. And and then you decriminalize. That's what they did in Portugal. It cut down IV drug use in half. They used to be the highest IV drug use in all of Europe. Now they're the lowest. They cut HIV rates down extremely by that. Same with hepatitis. That's what you do. You end the war on drugs. That's how you treat addiction. Is you end the war on drugs and you treat people with empathy and respect. You don't go to war with cartels. That's just going to create more and more violence south of the border. That's going to have more people fleeing to here to escape it, which is creating the supposed immigration crisis they're complaining about. There's better ways to do this. It doesn't involve giant state apparatuses, violence, or military solutions. Will you just kill migrants crossing the border? No. Daniel May says, as a libertarian, if I'm not on a watch list, I'd be disappointed. It means you're not libertarian enough. True. To the NSA agent who's probably watching this, hello. The way you break down the cartels is you actually legalize drugs in this country, because then you take away the profit motive of the cartels south of the border. You create particularly with cannabis, you create an entire new industry across many states, as we've seen with the legalization of cannabis. And in particular, you're going to have less overdoses and less people in jail if we just end the war on drugs. By the way, economic pressure just means protectionism and sanctions and other things. It's a separation from the free market. Oh my God! Here's a cheering for the war on terror. The biggest, I mean, huge waste of money, waste of lives. Stealing tons of civil liberties. Let's not cheer the war on terror there, Asa. But of course, you were head of the DEA, so I don't expect that any less of a statist like you for that. So, geez. Sending military agents across the border into Mexico is an invasion of a sovereign nation. That is against our Constitution. Every solution they have comes with a gun. You guys realize this? You see this? Every problem that they have that they're talking about is solved to them with violence and a gun, with force, with lethal force, killing people who just want to cross the border. This is ridiculous. This is what statism does to you. This is what happens when your only answer is authority and violence. This is why we have to support libertarians, you guys, because there are ways to solve the issues of addiction, solve the issue of immigration, solve the issue of foreign policy and trade around the world that does not involve using our military force or the barrel of a gun. This is just so ridiculous to me. Like, I cannot believe that this is what people vote for, see as a legitimate use of force in this country. I mean, we need to free the people. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. DeSantis is a war criminal goon who was at Gitmo signing off on the worst kind of abuses that our country was doing. Let me just say, if I get on a debate stage with him, I'm going to expose him for what he is. All right, let's see. I negotiated to spend more of your taxpayer money on a wall that we don't need. I negotiated this. He negotiated a bunch of big government action. This is why Mike Pence is arguing he's the most ready to be president. Jeez, more violence from Mike Pence. By the way, most people who come to this country without documentation, they just overstay a visa. They come on an airplane, you guys, or they come here with legal documentation just to overstay. It's not like this is all coming from the southern border. What are you going to do, Chris? You're going to send them all back? You're going to deport all 15 million or whatever it is people who are here illegally? How are you going to do that without it costing trillions of dollars? This is the thing. And what we need to do is we need to give these people documentation and allow them to wait in line for citizenship. But what you have to do is give them some sort of documentation. What you're doing when you don't have workers with documentation is it causes exploitation of labor. helps make American jobs lower paying, as well as exploiting the immigrants for their labor. If you allow people to come here with documentation, you take people out of the black market, and you allow them to be, working within the economy as it exists. This is the truth. Chris Christie says China is engaging in an active war. Are you going to go to war with them, Chris Christie? Because if someone's engaging in an active war, you go to war. So by saying that, see, that's dangerous rhetoric right there. Again, more violent rhetoric, more war rhetoric from these people. It's the only thing they know. It's the only thing the Republicans know is they certainly don't have an economic record to run on in terms of spending, the debt, the deficit. All right, you guys, I'm going to take a quick break while we're on a commercial break. Again, remember, if you want to support this campaign, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate, and you're going to hear a campaign that's focused on freedom, not on violence, which is what you keep hearing from the Republicans in this debate. We'll see you back in a couple minutes once these idiots get back on stage to keep talking about more. Border walls, get them hard. Yeah, seems like it does, huh? This entire panel. Oh, I'm not reading that one. Though that is funny. I'll be right back, you guys. Hang tight. All right, I'm back, you guys. Seems to me like just being realistic and trying to be as unbiased as I can. Candidate who's done the best for himself in this debate is Ramaswamy, and I think DeSantis honestly has done his good holding his own, not losing any more ground than he's already lost. Chris Christie's kind of shot himself in the foot. I think Ace has shot himself in the foot. Don't think Doug Burgum's catching any fire. Nikki Haley's done good for herself. I got to say, she's been showing enthusiasm and like feistiness. I don't really agree with any of their stuff. So, that's just being realistic here. I don't really agree with anything that they have to say. But I think that's who's doing the best right now. Tim Scott's not really inspiring. He's not catching fire. No one's really catching fire here. That's the thing. The winner of this thing so far has been Donald Trump, because no one is really breaking out. I think Mike Pence is just being boring Mike Pence. Who am I missing here? Like, it just seems to me like none of them are really breaking through. And that the winner of this debate so far has been Donald Trump, because none of them seem like they're going to be able to really challenge him within the Republican Party. Seems like it's going to be Biden, Trump again. I would be doing a live stream for the Democratic debates, but those aren't going to exist with or without Joe Biden, it looks like. So, I would really like, to be able to do this for both of the two parties that stink. But it seems like the Republicans are the only ones offering debates this time around. And like I said, I think the only ones who are really doing any good is it seems like DeSantis is stopping the bleed, like he's stopping his loss. It seems like he's rehearsed himself really well, though he still looks like a lizard in a human suit to me. He just still doesn't seem very natural. Looks like, Ramaswamy is holding his own, though he's getting pummeled on all sides. He's going to use that to his advantage to basically say, like, see, all the professional politicians came after me because I'm not like a regular politician. He's trying to be like the younger version of Donald Trump here. Honestly, I think he's trying to be Trump's running mate at this point. And like I said, I don't think anybody else is really jumping in Yeah, thank you, Ray. I'm glad to be your 2024 candidate. I am going to keep being awesome. If you want to help this campaign, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. Help this campaign grow to fight the two-party system, including these knuckleheads we're watching right now. All right, they're talking about the Department of Education. Okay, but see, the way you do that is not by changing the public school indoctrination, because you're now changing it to your version. You go to full school choice. I think parents should stand for their kids for education. We should, if we're going to fund students at all, it should be funding students and not systems. If we're going to be funding schools at all, um, and then parents can decide what schools they want to go to in Florida or anywhere else. They can decide what kind of curriculum they want. And this doesn't just help students and parents; it also helps a lot of educators who are stuck within school curriculums they hate. I'm sure there are a lot of pro LGBTQ teachers right now who are Florida public school teachers who would really love to be able to go to a school that's different and be able to teach different. I think that that's the best way to do it. Parents have unconditional love for their kids, so they're going to be their best advocate. I think we should take the power out of the hands of DC, or even out of the hands of, say, the Florida state government, and really return that power to each and every individual parent to be the best advocate for their kids and making those best education choices. So I would like the school systems to be run as locally as possible, where they do exist. But really, I would like to see choice in education, real marketplace in education. Ramaswamy is talking about funding students, not systems. I agree with him. Boo! 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 No, I'm sorry. No, this is a way to get young people to not to vote by trying to make them pass a civics exam. That's BS. Same with national service. You shouldn't have to do national service just because you're 18. You're not owned by this country. You don't get to be a citizen of this country because the government owns you and has to decide what you can do. Screw that. You're 18. You're old enough to vote. You should be able to vote. If you're old enough to be drafted, which the draft should be gone anyways, you should be old enough to vote. It's ridiculous. Hey, man, I agree that families are great, but you know what you don't need is the government to be using money or influence to try to change that. That's just a natural cultural thing. Vivek is hardly a consistent libertarian. Thankfully, he does not call himself one. You're correct. He is not a consistent libertarian. He's floated the idea of voting the voter age to 25. Yeah, screw that. That's a terrible idea. I think young people should be able to vote. If you can't communicate to young people, that's a you problem, not a young people problem. Yeah, so what you do is you create real marketplace of education. I'm sorry, Bergham's boring, so I'm just going to talk over him right now. But what you want to do is you want to create a real marketplace of education, because when you do that, those schools that are really thriving and succeeding, they're going to get that positive PR, and people are going to start either sending their kids to those schools, or other schools are going to pop up teaching similar models. And those schools that don't do well will fall by the wayside. And that's just the best way to do this, is to create real competition in education. And like I said, it's not just good for the student, for the parents, but it's also good for educators who want to have freedom in education. I talked to a voter in Iowa who was a hardcore Democrat public school supporter. And the way I got her to talk about the subject is I said, you live in a red state. Do you really want the red county commission to be determining the curriculum in your schools? Or do you think parents should be able to do that? Just like in the red state of Alabama, there's a charter school that specifically caters to LGBTQ students who have felt persecuted or bullied in their school, and they now have a safe place to go. and parents have the power to take their tax funding and go there if they want to. And I said, well, if you live in a red state, shouldn't somebody who teaches values that are close to your values as opposed to the values in this particular county be the people who are opening a school, and that where you want to send your kids? And even this, blue Democrat who had started out being a hardcore public school supporter, after about 10 minutes of talking about education, she really got on the idea that you should be able to fund students and not systems, and that parents who are going to be the best advocates for their kids should be the ones making those decisions. So if you just have those realistic conversations, if you sit down and you have those conversations, you come from the place of care, like, hey, I understand you want to have good schools for your kids. I understand you want to make sure you have quality schools. The best way to do that is not through the facilitation of the public school systems that exist, but if you're going to fund it, fund the students, not the systems. Nikki Haley went to shop class back in high school. I don't disagree. I think we should have more STEM schools and more schools that teach trades and all kinds of stuff. We should have more choice in education. And more, the standard anti-trans stuff that you're going to get from the Republicans. By the way, in terms of sports, I think individual leagues should determine those things, not necessarily a county school system. I think let the leagues make their own determination, school by school, league by league. That's the best way to do this stuff. But for, certainly for, school sports, that's really the best determination, is to let individual leagues determine it for individual sports. All sports are different. So we don't have a president who's too old or too young, says Mike Pence. A clear attack at both Joe Biden and Ramaswamy. Yeah, but see, all of their school choice programs comes with tons of strings attached. It might as well be the public school system controlling private schools. You have to have real, true school choice, kind of the Corey DeAngelis model, if you guys know who that is. If you're going to be funding students at all, that's the way you should be going, which is basically it is a pathway towards true education marketplace and towards getting the government completely out of it altogether. I agree with him. We need a new generation. Our generation, the millennial generation's been the one that was sent to the war on terror. We're the generation who had to deal with the 2008 housing crisis just as we were getting involved in the economy. The economy fell and tanked from underneath us. We bailed out big banks and screwed over the little guy. It's our generation that's still having to deal with this right now and raise families with crazy inflation. So, yeah. I think we do need a new generation of leadership. It's just a new generation of libertarian leadership that we need, not just a rehashed version of the Reagan 80s, which is what Ramaswamy is trying to promise. He's trying to do this, he's trying to sound like everybody's best friend here, but really what he's trying to do is put a lot of money on the border, put a lot of money into militarism. I like him on some things, but not on a lot of others. I look forward to debating if you were to become the nominee. I've been telling everyone you're 92. Hey, it'll help me with the polls if that's any indication of what voters look for. All right, Ace is talking about computer science. Okay. Ask Asa a little bit about computer science. Ask him a question about it. Ask him if he knows what coding is. There's no role for the president to be trying to change the amount of people's faith. I believe that people's faith is their own private thing, by the way. I'm an Episcopal Christian myself, but I won't seek to use my office to try to push my religion on anybody. You're free to have a faith or not. And so long as you're doing it in peace, not hurting anybody, you know. Asa looks like a guy who holds a computer mouse like a TV remote. That's hilarious. Talk about your Gitmo time. Talk about your time at Gitmo. You talked about Iraq. Why didn't you talk about Guantanamo? Just wondering. Just wondering. Ooh, UFOs. The first one to say, let's not talk about UFO aliens, but talk about illegal aliens. Here we go. DeSantis can't answer any questions he's being asked. To answer this question, yes, if there's aliens, I'm letting people know about it because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I can't wait for First Contact. Let's do this. Christie's doing a good job of pivoting this stupid question. I got to give it to him. He's turning it into his little rhetorical 30 seconds. He used it to pivot back to education. I got to give him credit for at least having the consistency to move himself there. Though, all right, so it seems like everything's about done. They're going to be back with some closing statements, it looks like, to just finish this thing off. I tell you guys, nobody's looking pretty impressive to me. Surprise, surprise, the guy who's running for a Libertarian nomination for president is not impressed by Republicans. All I have heard is just so much of their answers tonight. Am I crazy that so many of their answers involve violence or the military or using lethal force on these things? Like, it just seems to me like such a violent field that we have out here. It just seems like peace is not the answer for any of these people. Not really liking it, man. It's this big government, big statism, authoritarian. Even the folks who say things that I like, then at the same side of their mouths, they'll say things that are terrible. Like they'll say things like, yeah, we need to get rid of the FBI or the Department of Education. And then Ramaswamy will say things like, oh, yeah. And then also every 18-year-old should have to take a test before they have the right to vote or do national service, which is another thing that is ridiculous to me. No, this is not Starship Troopers. You should not have to jump through hoops to get citizenship in this country if you were born here and you're a native citizen. Like, that's ridiculous. And this is just literally, to me, that is just ultimately a way to try to get young people not to vote because they don't vote Republican. And that's just naked partisanship. How about just be able to talk to young people a little bit better? That's a better thing. Anyway, geez, these are ridiculous. I'm going to be putting out some tweets tonight. I'm going to rewatch this stuff tonight. I know I'm going to have to rewatch it, even though I just did. But I'll spend the night rewatching this and seeing if I can find some choice nuggets to really come after. But it's just so much violence here. These and the things they're talking about, freaking UFOs and Donald Trump's convictions. Like, let's talk about real kitchen table issues. How will you reduce inflation? That should have been one of the questions in this debate. How will you and your administration, if elected, reduce inflation? How will you, not using rhetorical flourishes, but how will you actually reform the immigration system to fix it? So other than build the wall, right? How will you actually deal with foreign policy beyond just saying China is a threat? Like, what are you going to actually do? Like, this is just scientific libertarian says Haley had the best answers. She was pretty. I mean, I don't agree that all her answers are the best answers because they're all pretty terrible. Everybody's had terrible answers. I do feel like she is the one who has been like the most consistently like on her game. I think everyone else has had ups and downs, particularly DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy. Like, I think those two have had the most up and down. Christie's been consistently kind of booed throughout most of the evening. He's had a little bit of laughs here and there. I think Haley's been in the middle of the road. They have all mentioned going to war with China. Yes, you're correct, David. All of them have mentioned going to war with China. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, how are you gonna criticize going to war in Ukraine if you're gonna be like, and the next thing you say is let's go to war with China? Like, are any of these people actually anti-war or are they not? I just answered my own question. They're not. And it seems to me like state violence is just the answer. And I already know that's the answer of Democrats too. Like, they believe in using the power of the state and the power of the government to control your decisions, to control the economy too. So it's not like, but this is just like ridiculous. It seems to me like they're all just, and none of them are really going to break out from Trump. This is the thing, is that Trump is like, he's not even there and he's still leading by 40 points. And the room, do I think there will be a DNC debate? Absolutely not. I don't think there will be. The DNC has already said there's not going to be a debate. In Iowa, they didn't even have the Democratic table. They didn't even have Marianne Williamson or RFK stuff. They were just a Biden table in Iowa. So I don't feel like there's any mood from the DNC to have any kind of debate. They want to make sure that their guy does not have to debate because, frankly, I don't think Biden could survive a primary process if he were to have some really hard debates. I don't even see how he's going to be able to debate in the general. He just seems so much less than he was even 4 years ago, Joe Biden, like in terms of being able to be with it. Like, so he is a very old dude. Like, we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens with him. I think we're about to be back at these closing statements just to get everybody out here and then into the spin room. I'm going to jump off here. But I'm going to go ahead and wish everybody a good night here and jump off here at the very end. I'll let these folks have their closing statement and then we'll say good night. So, so Fox Business has a host to debate next month. Good times. Again, if you want to support this campaign as opposed to these statist people that we've been listening to all night in this debate, go to votechaseoliver.com/donate. Let's help this campaign grow. Every bit of your donation helps. We really appreciate recurring donations. I'm going to go ahead and drop out and let these folks have their closing statements. I want to wish you guys a good night. Thanks so much for staying here and listening with me. It's been a pleasure. And, if you catch me around the country, say hello. It's been a pleasure. Peace, love, and liberty, you guys. Go to votechaseoliver.com. Have a good night.